Well, we've now roped in Father Hugo McBride. He's a Catholic priest. Father McBride, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. So as we get your reaction then to the Pope's passing, just give us your reflections of Pope Francis, a man who some have said essentially redefined what it means to be a Pope in the 21st century. How did his background also shape his unique voice in the Church?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Unati, and good evening to you too, and to all the viewers. To be honest, I got a shock when I heard the news that the Holy Father had died. I mean, we all knew that he was sick. We were all expecting it. But yet, when the news came, I felt a real stab of grief and loss, because he was a great man. He ruled the Church, he led the Church with such openness, such grace, such gentleness, such love, such compassion. And I just miss him. And the Church was in a very bad space whenever Pope Francis was elected Pope. It was a time of crisis. There were troubles all over the Church, from financial mismanagement to sexual abuse cases, to people leaving the Church because they were losing faith in its leadership, losing faith in the priests, or for whatever reason, in many countries, the churches were becoming empty. And so they elected Pope Francis to reform this, to clean up this mess, to try to realign the Church with the person of Jesus and with the basic values that he taught, the basic doctrines that he taught. He was a gentle man, our Pope Francis, and he led with not any kind of judgment. He wasn't judging people. He just accepted people as they were. He knew he had a job to do. And he had an inner toughness to do that job, no matter what it cost him, no matter what happened. And he started that job within minutes of being elected, even by choosing the very name Francis. Francis, who was the saint of the poor, Francis, who is known for his love of nature. He chose that name. And then, shortly after that, a minute or two after that, the Master of Ceremonies would have presented him with a beautiful golden pictorial cross. He said, "No, thank you." The beautiful ermine cape. He said, "No, thank you." Wanted him to take off his poor old black shoes that he'd worn from Argentina, take them off and put on the nice red shoes of the fisherman. He said, "No, thank you." And it is rumored that he actually said, "The carnival is over. The carnival is over." So what happened then was he went out onto the balcony to greet the people who were assembled in St. Peter's Square. And instead of using a kind of very lofty or high church greeting, he simply says, "Buonasera," which means good evening, evening, brothers and sisters, just the same way as we would say, "San Bonani."
Father, before you continue, I mean, there's quite a number of things I would like to discuss with you, and thank you so much for those insights. Really speaks to the way in which people have been describing him over the past few hours. There's quite a number of developments we are seeing since the Pope's passing that we would like you to just place clarity on, if you can. I mean, tomorrow morning, Pope Francis's body will be taken to St. Peter's Basilica. We understand that's at 9 a.m. in a procession led by cardinals. Just walk us through the Church's process as quickly as you can, just in terms of the traditional period of mourning before the cardinals gather for the conclave, of course.
Well, there will be a time for the body of the late Pope to lie in state in St. Peter's Cathedral in order to allow the people to pass by and to see it, very much the same way that happens here at our own funerals. Coffin will be opened, they will walk past, and they will say their goodbye to Pope Francis. And then on Saturday morning, I think it is, they have the funeral. And after the funeral, the body will be taken into St. Peter's, but then it will be brought over to St. Mary Major, a church within the city of Rome that Francis loved. And it will be interred there in a simple grave with a slab on top of it. And the only words that will be written on the slab is Franciscus, Francis. And it's after that that the church has this kind of 9 days or so of what it calls a mourning period. But in fact, it's a time for the cardinals to gather. You remember that the cardinals have come from all over the world and from very remote places. Most of them don't actually know each other. So when they come together, there's a time for discernment, a time for, what do you think of this man? There will be talks, there will be meetings, and people will give their opinion. Where is the church at this moment? What is the state of the church? What kind of man do we need to lead it? And then they will look round among their number and see, can we find such a man that will fit the bill? Now, it's not like elections in the political sphere in this world. There's nobody putting themselves forward. You can't canvass for anyone. Yeah. There will be little suggestions, what do you think of this man? I think this man could do it. Some other will say, what do you think of Cardinal so-and-so? He might do it. And for 9 days, they will get a chance to talk with each other and to express what kind of man they want. Yeah. And then they go into the conclave, and the door is locked, and the cell phones or any other kind of gadgets that they could communicate with are taken away. Now, there's a big thing made of this secrecy. It's not a conspiracy or anything like that. The reason for the secrecy, the reason for secluding them into that great hall is so that there's no outside influence, there's no lobbying, there's no pressure group pushing for one person or the other. Yeah. They enter into what's called a discernment process, in which they think of the most suitable person, they kind of ponder that and mull it over and invite the Holy Spirit to enlighten their mind and to help them see what would be most pleasing to the Lord, what kind of candidate would be most suitable. And that's the one that they choose. And he has to get 2/3 of a majority, excuse me, he has to get 2/3 of a majority vote before he is elected. And when he's elected, of course, he has to accept it. Yeah. Does that answer that question?
Absolutely, Father McBride. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's why I didn't interrupt you, because I think you gave it such a beautiful way of explaining the process. We do really appreciate your time, but unfortunately we have run out of time. But thank you so much, Father McBride, for your time this afternoon. Father Hugo McBride there for us.